The concept of gender in many different works of Chinese fiction can be portrayed differently depending on the author's view on the matter. The Peony Pavilion and The Plum and the Golden Vase are two novels that contrast directly as a whole in regards to the issue of gender. They contrast on the topics of love versus lust, the bonds and relationships between the female characters, and the feminist read of each novel.
The Peony Pavilion is based more around love, whereas Plum and the Golden Vase is centered around the character's lust. In Peony Pavilion, the main characters are set up on the basis of the intelligent scholar and beautiful woman, which is a common writing style for the Chinese novels of the Ming Dynasty. This conception is a love story where a beautiful woman and an intelligent scholar are attracted to one another, but have some sort of barrier that keeps them from being together, such as an arranged marriage or family.
The whole story is centered around the couple's attempts at trying to bring their love together. Nothing, including death, would keep them apart. The love in this novel is shown through this inability to stay apart, and the emotion they portray while trying to be together. An example of this is how Bridal's yearning for love is shown through a dream she has in Scene 10 about scholar Liang Mengmei. After she wakes up from the dream, Bridal cannot shake the feeling of lovesickness and dies because of it. Because her dream was infected with the reality she was living, it is evident that emotions play a huge role in the Peony Pavilion, because it shows a weaker side of women and how they let emotions affect their lives.
Plum and the Golden Vase is a story about the human vice and how sex is used as a tool more than for love. Rather than focusing on love, the novel puts an emphasis on lust, as seen through adultery, and a large focus on material culture. This portrays a different type of emotion. Material culture is the relationship between things, such as artifacts, and social relationships. This is important because the novel is centered around it. It shows how the characters are focused on gaining more material items as opposed to gaining any type of emotional conception, such as relationships or love. The relationship between a husband and wife can also be seen as materialistic, and this is shown through the act of adultery between Xi Menqing and Pan Qilian. The perception of objects is historically, socially, and culturally conditioned. Material culture is also seen by the story's emphasis on the description of random objects, such as a room, food, and even clothing.
Both Peony Pavilion and Plum and the Golden Vase have aspects of passion in them. However, passion from love and passion from lust are not the same, and are used by the women in different manners.
The bond between the women in each novel can show their roles and the social understanding behind how the societies in each novel are set up.
When the husband cheats on his wife in Plum and the Golden Vase, maid Ying Chen eavesdrops and finds out what he is doing. The role of eavesdropping was to make sure that almost nothing was kept as a secret from the characters. Throughout the novel, privacy was not respected, and this was used primarily as a means for a character to help him or herself. The bond between the maid and wife is almost non-existent. This shows how everyone in the novel is on their own and has to figure things out for themselves. The fact that there is no bond between women can show that they have to fend for themselves. In a way, this shows that everyone in the novel is selfish, but also can show just how strong each woman is on her own. However, some women are not as strong as others and given to more vices because of this.
In the Peony Pavilion, Bridal and her maid Fragrance have an extremely close relationship. Again, eavesdropping is seen in this story, but Fragrance uses it in order to help progress the relationship between Bridal and Liu Mengmei. Fragrance shares the knowledge she has with Bridal, and the bond between them can be seen as empowering for one another because they work as a team.
A feminist read consists of a literary criticism viewed through a feminist lens.
In Plum and the Golden Vase, the women have a strong sense of desire and use it to gain a well-off and handsome husband. This is used as a means to gain status and hierarchy and power. The reader is aware of the limitations of the women and how they want to grow. Male desire interferes with this view because in the story, the desire seemed to be in excess of success, sex, and money. Women in the Plum and the Golden Vase are often seen in a negative light. A feminist take on it, however, would be that the women are empowered. They can use their lust to manipulate the desires of men so that they can obtain their own desires. This is important because throughout Chinese history, women are viewed as submissive and almost second class. Even though a woman's desire can be limiting in a way, we can at least see that women have desires.
In contrast, Bridal from Peony Pavilion is not as self-achieving as the women in Plum and the Golden Vase. She literally died from heartbreak and self-pity, and did not try to fix anything until after her death. A feminist take on this would not be happy with the way the story goes, because it portrays the women as easily manipulated by their emotions and easily swayed. In a way, Bridal can be seen as a weak character. Bridal has more emotion than desire, which is more typical for an ancient Chinese female character.
Through the concepts of love and lust, the relationships between the women of the novels, and a feminist read, One can see the impacts of gender throughout the stories. How the authors choose to portray gender dictates how the female characters are viewed and how the stories will pan out. No matter how the women are seen in a novel, gender is an incredibly important aspect of Chinese literature. It dictates which characters hold the power, which reflects the times and societies in which the novels were written and try to portray.